Fear is about the physical. The affirmation or the presence activation statement for session 7 is, I feel safe in this body. I feel safe in this body. And when you really work with that, you'll find out where you don't. One of the reasons why we left and entered a mental place as children and found that place to go into is because we didn't want to be, I don't want to be here. If a child is going through a trauma and says, I don't want to be here, we leave. Because being in this physical experience is very frightening. There's something frightening going on, I don't want to be here. So fear is directly related to why I am wanting to leave the body. So that's why we spend a good 5 sessions in the presence process, first learning how to consciously work with our anxiety. Anxiety is also an interesting word. Any exit. When I'm in anxiety, what I'm saying is, I want any way out of this moment, any way out of this experience that I can find. And because I don't know what to do with what's happening to me, I can't integrate it. But when we use this process of re-entering our emotional body consciously, which we learn to do before we do it energetically in the water, we first want to learn to do it consciously because we want to be conscious participators of our experience, of the creation of our experience. When I know that I can take anything that's upsetting me in the world and find the causal point of it and work to transform that, and what you'll do when you use that procedure is you'll find that when you clear that emotional block by being with it, that's all that's required, that messenger will no longer come back. It doesn't have to. You got the message. And then you'll realize what alchemy really is. Alchemy is taking base and turning it into gold. Taking those base experiences and turning them into gold. So you may find that you have a very troubling relationship with one of your parents. And if you really work with the emotional stuff that comes up for you whenever you're around them, don't worry about fiddling with them. That's the reactive approach. You work with the emotional stuff that they bring up, get what they're trying to give you, and transform that within yourself. You will find the entire nature of your relationship with them will transform without you having to speak a word to them about what's going on. And then you'll realize what your power is really all about. And that any uncomfortable experience outside that is impacting you emotionally in a way that you can't control, or that's an upset, that you can transform. That's when you realize how much power we actually have and work with that. Then the anxiety quickly diminishes. The desire to leave this moment and to run somewhere decreases. Then I'm prepared to start to come and rest in this body and not so much run into the mental place. With the water sessions, what we're doing is we're creating an environment that is an emotional body environment. Water is the element of emotion. The sea is the ocean of emotion. What we're doing is we're sitting in warm water. And by the time we sit in warm water in this process, because of the way that our intention is being honed, and because of what we've been through through the first 6 sessions, our emotional stuff is going to be underneath the surface. And it's going to be a heat, whether we can perceive that or not, like the heat that happens in this room. And that heat is going to come head on head with the heat in the water. And what the warmth in the water is going to do is going to make us aware of the heat in our own body. And we may perceive that heat as fear or anger or grief. Remember, it's just a concept we're putting on it. But by placing our attention on the heat, it's the same, it's simply the way the emotional body works. If I feel it, I bring it back into balance. So the water enables me to feel that, being in the warm water. So in the book, what we do is we lie in warm water for 20 minutes, just be in the warm water, and then we get out and we breathe immediately afterwards because we're really close to our emotional awareness. It's interesting that being in a bath is a direct relationship with how we feel about being in our emotional body. And it's really interesting that in this country, not many people bath. Everyone's showering. They want to get in that water. Interesting thing to note. In the book, that's the gentle method. When I'm facilitating somebody one-on-one, we make the water quite warm. And then you get into the water and you breathe, you connect your breathing, and you can be in that water for up to an hour or more. And when that happens, the awareness goes right into the emotional body and you will absolutely feel the heat of that. And it'll come face to face with the heat in the water. And the heat in the water will not give. And that's almost like a safety net, because the ego is very smart. And what is the ego? It's our behavior, our life experience, and our appearance. Now, if the ego doesn't want to deal with something, because the ego's identity is based solely on our issues. Without issues, there's no ego. Its whole identity is based on the issues that we have. It's based on fear, anger, and grief. And if it doesn't want to release any of those because now it's being threatened, then what it does is it can make our behavior and our appearance and our life circumstances appear as if we're radiantly healthy. As we're coming towards the core issue, we become even more radiantly healthy. Look at me, I feel wonderful. I don't need to deal with my stuff. I don't need to do this work. I feel really good. And often, when our ego is very clever, it can put us in a position where we're the one who helps people. I'm here to help you. What's wrong with me? That's the way it can hide. So we need a safety net for that. And when we get in warm water, the ego can't say, it's not warm. It's not really warm. So when we breathe in really warm water, when we're doing it one-on-one, there is no way around that for the ego. It comes face to face with itself. And the heat of the water is not going to change, but the heat that the ego is holding on to will be released. And you'll find that even happens when you're only doing the 20-minute sessions of lying in the water, that you'll get out of the bath and do your breathing and you'll feel heat radiating off you. That's the negative emotional charge peeling off. So we use water sessions to really access what's going in the emotional body in an energetic way. And we do water sessions in sessions 7, 8, and 9. And during those sessions, we are in the emotional realm of our being. And that's why you will find that as you go through sessions 7, 8, and 9, you can feel a little confused, if those of you have got that far. And the confusion is because the mental aspect is no longer of use. Now the only thing that is of use to us is to feel our way through what's going on. Whatever's coming up, just feel it. The confusion is a positive indicator that we are now in an emotional place of ourselves. When we go through this part of the process and we are now working energetically with our emotional body through the water and we are releasing this emotional charge, and we will also find that we may go through emotional experiences of being tearful and that during this period too. That's very much like letting water, old water out of a bath. The thinking part doesn't help us anymore. So if I've been out of my emotional realm for a long time, a good metaphor is if I'm 43 now, then say I left the emotional realm about when I was 6 or 7. So let's say I haven't been in my emotional realm really for 35 years. The emotional center of my house is the bathroom. So it's like walking into my bathroom and finding that I haven't been there for 36 years, and there's a bath full of water, and it's full of algae and mosquitoes and slime. It's kind of bubbling. Blub, blub, blub. It's no point in going, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder how that happened. I wonder who did that. I wonder how long it's been here. What does it really taste like? Okay. What I want to do is pull the plug and let it out. And the pulling the plug and letting it out is the tears part of it, is the emotional release part of it. I don't have to know why I'm crying. I just let it out. I let it out so that I can clean out the tub and put fresh water in and be in my own emotional body in a comfortable way, in a cleansing way. Have a cleansing relationship, ongoing cleansing relationship with my emotional body. Because while I'm not in my emotional body, I'm not cleansing. And my relationship with my emotional body is ongoing. It's not about fixing what's going on with my heart and then getting on with something else. It's about being consistently in a place of taking care of my emotional content. In other words, it's like bathing and showering every day. So as this initial energy, blocked energy, moves out of our system, we want to make sure that with the fresh energy that's coming in other words, I don't want to then fill another bathtub up of water and behave in such a way that I walk out of the bathroom again and leave that water there to get all rotten again. I want to install a new experience. An experience in which I'm in my body, I'm going to stay in my body now, I'm going to stay in a state of mental clarity about being responsible for my experience, and I'm going to take, through my feelings, take care of my emotional body. And so what we do in the presence process is we have a navigational tool that we use to set that experience in motion. And the navigational tool works like an orchestra. The ways that we use to perceive the world, all the different aspects we use of our perception. If we want to have an experience of physical presence, then all those parts of our perception have to be tuned to what physical presence is for us. If an orchestra has all different pieces of sheet music, no matter what they play, it'll be dissonant. So we want to tune our perceptual experience to physical presence. We want to tune our perceptual tools. And so what we do is we have a navigational tool that we use for that. And this tool is infuriating to the ego. And you'll find that when you use this tool on yourself, you'll almost get a bit annoyed with it because there are no answers, seemingly. So it's a set of questions. And remember that we said we want to sit in the place of the question. The answer will come as a physical, mental, and emotional experience. So what we do is after our 15-minute breathing, twice a day, we ask a series of questions. And we ask the same questions in the morning, and then we ask them in the evening. And we ask them again in the morning and in the evening, and we do that for 7 days. And that really annoys the ego and the mental part because it goes, I already asked these questions. And they don't really make any sense. And there are no real answers for them, so why am I doing this? Okay? You have to ignore that part, and you'll feel that come up in yourself. Let's ask these questions of ourselves. Close your eyes, connect to breathing. When we're going through session 7, I feel safe in this body. These questions are about physical presence. So I'll read them out and just ask them of yourself. If there's no answer, that's fine. If there is, take note of it and move on to the next question. What is the purpose of physical presence? What sound do I associate with physical presence? What color do I associate with physical presence? What smell do I associate with physical presence? What taste do I associate with physical presence? What emotion do I associate with physical presence? What texture do I associate with physical presence? What physical form does physical presence take for me? What movement do I associate with physical presence? What visual symbol do I associate with physical presence? Where am I experiencing effortless physical presence in my life right now? And exactly how annoyed is my mind getting by these particular questions at this moment? So come back. It doesn't matter if the answers come in the mind or not, because what will happen is they'll come in the experience. And you'll be walking a lot, maybe in the parking lot of a shopping center, and you'll hear a church bell ring and you'll suddenly feel yourself being really present by that sound. So it will come as an experience. It's a navigational tool. It's the focusing of the intent towards physical presence.